Hi everyone, welcome to DIY Ideas. Today I want to show you how you can make really cool felt decorations for Christmas or any other holiday, so stay tuned. So here is everything that you're gonna need. So just some basics first, some fabric scissors, some regular pins, then of course thread in any color that you would prefer or that matches your felt, a needle for hand sewing, and then some accessories of your choice. Then also something to mark with. Here I have a pencil and a pen, and I have here some fabric chalk. So we're gonna mark these shapes onto our felt. So that's what we need those for. So I have here a couple of patterns. You can of course use any shape and size that you like. And then here I have just some cotton wool so that we can fill our little bits afterwards. So here I just have some random little decorative pieces like pearls or like ribbons, anything and everything that you prefer. Here I have a little bit of band as well, and you can use pretty much anything you like depending on what you want to make. Here I have some felt in different colors, as you can see. So I have the thinner one. It's a bit easier to work with, but you can use the thicker one if you prefer that as well. Okay, so now that we have everything, let's get started. So first of all, we have here our shapes. So I have 4 different ones. You can see a star, a heart, a circle, and a Christmas tree. So what we're gonna do is transfer these guys onto the felt itself, and you can of course do any shape and size here that you would prefer. So I took the simplest ones that I could think of because they're going to be easy to cut, easy to transfer, and easy to work with later. Okay, so now we're going to transfer our little shapes onto the felt itself. So here I started with the star, and you can see that I'm putting it on top here. And then I'm going to take my fabric pencil, my fabric pen, or fabric chalk, whatever you want to use. And I'm just going to mark the edges so that I can cut it out later. So since we want 2 layers, it's important to remember to fold it in half like this, or to do 2 pieces that are exactly the same size and shape. So now that we have 2 of each, we can get started with the rest of the project. So I recommend that you plan the accessories beforehand so that you know what you're going to use and how much you're going to need in the end. So for example, I'm going to take here the Christmas tree, and at the front I want to do this little red and white bow. So here what I'm going to do is basically take these little sections, the wings, and just put them on the back so that they're going to stay there after I put it all together. And then what I'm going to do is basically do a stitch around here to keep everything in place, and that way my ribbon stays on here as well. So after you have everything fixed and in place, then you're pretty much done. So you can do this in many different ways. So I'm going to do a little bit of lace as well, just to try it out. Of course, here I'm going to have to fold it a little bit so that it doesn't stick out from the middle, or you can even cut it short if you prefer that. So there are many different ways how you can do it. Here it's really too long, so I'm going to definitely cut it a little bit shorter. And yeah, just put it onto the back section as well, and then we have that done. So as far as the Christmas ornament goes, I want to do the pearls on there, so that's where I'm going to need the sewing needle and thread. So now I did the little bows on top, the little loops, so that I can hang these up, and then that's what I use the thread for. And what I want to do now is just connect the back and the front so that everything also stays in place. So here you can see how I did the bow, super easy. Of course, another option would be the carabinier that you can do, at least the mini version, so those could be working as well depending on what kind of style you would like to do. So you can of course do it directly into the felt, so you can basically make a little hole and then just stick them in there, or you can sew them on there, or you can do a little loop like I did with a Christmas ornament and then do the carabinier onto that. So there are many different ways how you can do this. You can do it any way you like. I'm just going to do a couple different versions and show you how I did it. So now I'm just going to go around each of the shapes. So here in a circular stitch, and of course optionally you can fill this or stuff it if you'd like with pretty much anything. I'm using cotton wool here, so I'm just going to stuff it a little bit at a time and it should work just fine. So let's get right to it. So here you can see my finished Christmas ornaments, Christmas tree ornaments, and you can see here with the heart, the little loop that I did, and you can see the stitches everywhere that basically contour the entire thing, and then different ways how I decorated it. So with some loops, with a carabinier, and in this case I basically just did a tiny little loop and then I went through with the carabinier, and yeah. Some of them I stuffed a little bit, some of them more, some of them less, and here I basically did it through a little hole that I closed up in the end so that it really stays on the inside. So of course you can do many different things, not just Christmas ornaments out of felt with similar shapes, so you can do coasters or you can do things like jewelry or generally decorative pieces for anywhere in your house. And yeah, you can make them a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller, depending on what you need them for and what you like best. So of course you can make something in a 3D style like this, so that's what I'm going to show you next. So for the second project, we're basically going to need the exact same things. So you see here some felt in our desired color, then you can see here my hand gauge, our ruler will be fine too. Fabric scissors, thread, and something to mark with. So I have your fabric pen, your pattern, some cotton wool, and of course the ruler here. So first we're going to make our pattern, so you can see it here on my piece of paper, and I'm basically going to cut this out so that I can transfer it on here. Here it's just important to remember that it is supposed to stand, so that means that your stump on the bottom, if you have one, should be a little bit thicker so that it has stability when it's standing upright. Also, another thing that we have to think about is up until which point we're gonna cut it inward so that we can basically get the two pieces fitting together so that they go into one another. So my Christmas tree is about 10 centimeters tall, so I'm gonna do a mark at about 5, so about halfway, and that means that the one side I'm gonna cut outwards. So first the contours and then the inward cut. So now that we have this, we can get started with transferring the contours here onto the felt so that we can cut it out there. So I have here my pencil, and that's basically all that I'm gonna do. Then I'm gonna fold it in half so that I get 2 pieces. So now that you have 2 pieces, we can get started with the next section. And that's going to be the cut in the middle so that we can put them together. So as I said, just remember that your stump should be a little bit wider, or the bottom or the base, whichever way you decide to do it, with or without the stump, should be a little bit thicker. So for both of these, I'm going to take a little bit more felt and do another layer for both, so that it has a little bit more stability and thickness. So that way I'm also going to have 2 colors, so it's going to look a little bit like it has a shade to it. So it's going to look really, really cool. So I'm basically going to repeat these exact same steps with the contouring and the cutting out so that it looks the same. And then what I'm also going to do when I cut the new pieces out is stitch them together so that they stay together as well. And then put everything together. So now we're taking one of the green ones and one of the darker green ones, and we're going to put them together. We're going to stitch them up, and then we're going to do our cut. So of course we're again going to mark our 5 centimeters so that we know where that point is. So now we can either stitch these up right away or do the cut first and then stitch them up. So I think I'm going to do the cut first so that I later don't cut the stitch itself if I go over this bottom section. So I'm basically going to do a cut with my scissors right here in the middle, and then I'm going to do the stitch all around from the one side to the other. So I'm going to do it in a zigzag, or you can do it in a straight stitch as well. So now you can see both of these, and you can see how nice they look. So they're a little bit thicker, as I said, and I decided to do one alternative one out of just the first green felt that we used without the second one. And I think the second one kind of gives it a little bit more depth just because it's a different color. So yeah, it does look like it's a little bit shaded here, and I think the stitch also worked really well on here. So it looks contoured as if we actually did the felt this way on purpose. So yeah, it looks really, really cool. This is a simpler version of that, so this one takes a little bit less time. So I hope you guys enjoyed all of our projects today. Feel free to let me know what you think. You can also subscribe to our channel if you'd like to see more similar projects, and I hope you guys enjoyed. So feel free to click on the notification bell if you want to stay notified with everything new that we post, and let me know which one of these you like the best. If you like this darker Christmas tree, or if you like the little bit lighter one. And in general, the comment section is open for any feedback. So see you next time. Have a great day. Bye!